Well, boys, I knew it was too good to be true. I should have known Alex was trying to scam me on this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have to clean the carburetors out. After all that riding we did, it just would not fire up this morning. Well, it would fire up in choke only. Any throttle kills it, and it doesn't go out of choke without dying, which means we have a plugged pilot jet. Anyway, I got to take all this off, do the exact job I was hoping I would never have to do. I have it kind of all loosely disassembled. Let's pull this all off, clean those carburetors, make sure it fires up, go on a ride, and then I want to break down the whole total cost on this project, because you're thinking like $150 bike, but how much are you in it for? And that's what I want to find out today too. All right, let's clean these carbs. I can't believe this thing ran almost perfectly the entire video last time. I did diagnose like the diaphragm for the gas tank is pulling fuel like it should. Everything is working like it should. The choke is like nigh impossible to turn on now. And the throttle does not snap back nearly as fast as it used to. So I think the old fuel finally did its work. But let's see if it'll fire up and choke even. This is full choke. Yeah, it's rebuild time.
Disassembly went about how you'd expect. Carb cleanings are not the hardest jobs to do, but they're also not the most fun either. It always takes a long time to do it the first time, and then you can do it 20 minutes the next time. And these carbs had a couple stripped and over-tightened screws, so that also took a while. But they eventually came off, took them apart, and they were filthy.
Oh wow, yeah, that's real dirty in there. That's a miracle it even ran, to be honest.
Yep, they were pretty filthy. I'm not a huge fan of carburetors, but there's a ton of people who actually love them because they're fully tunable for any mods you do to the bike. With fuel injection, you actually have to like digitally change parameters if you make any mods. On carbs, you just loosen a screw. I actually used a small ultrasonic cleaner to clean everything. Nothing fancy, but it got the job done and it got all the little parts nice and clean again.
The rebuild kit that I bought didn't come with jets. I thought I would just unscrew them and put them new ones in. I had to clean out all the stock ones. These ones here were completely blocked. These are tiny little jets. Like you can, even with them clear, I could barely see through them. Got some individual strands of wire. The holes are just so small, I could barely put it in. And I had to just go in and out, in and out. Anyway, so this is pretty much our culprit here. So I'm just gonna put them all together now that these are cleaned out. Just gonna throw it back on. It'll run fine.
Anyway, I did the job and I put it back together.
All right, last couple things I want to do on this bike before it's ready to move on to a good home is install a battery tenderer before I put it back together, and then do an oil change on it so it is completely fresh for whoever buys it next. I actually just picked up one of my dream bikes from back in the day that I'm rebuilding right now. So while I will ride this one around until it sells, or if I give it to Alex, we'll see, it's just mostly gonna sit. So it's time for a new home for this thing, be it Alex or somebody else who just buys it. Okay, first things first, battery tenderer. Luckily, I bought a set of 2 of these and when I only needed 1, and so now I have an extra one laying around. So I can slap this right on and then nobody has to take the seat off when the battery, if the battery goes dead. It's a brand new battery in here though, so I don't expect anybody to need this for at least a couple of years. And if nothing else, you just push start the bike. And that will do it. All right, 1 battery tenderer installed right there. All right, let's see if she will fire up. Oil is on the full mark. Give it a little choke. Choke definitely actuates a lot easier now, which is good. All right, here we go. Here goes nothing. Yeah, that sounds nice. I will definitely say it runs a lot smoother. I think some of you guys that gave me a timestamp last video of it running on 1 cylinder, I think you guys might have actually been right. It sounded normal, but every now and then it got to low RPMs. I would hear like a little rattle from this cylinder. I think that one wasn't getting fuel sometime. I think it was just moving up and down, just dry firing. It runs so smooth now. Amazing what a carb cleaning will do. It does choke things. It's off choke. Super snappy. Yeah, sounds good. I would call that fixed. Let's do a price breakdown really quick and then I'll go for potentially my last ride on this thing. We'll see.
Throughout the weeks of the project, I saved all the receipts. There were enough that I knew it would take a while to categorize, so I just took the evening off. I went to a coffee shop to enter all the receipts, eBay purchases, and Amazon purchases into one spreadsheet. So this project was very much done from passion. I spent so much time making it like a one-off custom SV650, and I learned right now that I spent a surprising amount of money to do it. For the reaction from Alex, like it was worth it, but for my next projects, I need to keep track of budget ahead of time so I don't fall way behind on these motorcycle builds financially. All right, ladies and gentlemen, total price time. So I'm gonna go through every part. There's not that much to go through. So there's two different sections on this project. The main thing was actually like body work, paint, just changing the appearance of it. All right, so first and foremost, as far as body work goes, let's just go through everything. Paint, surprisingly enough, cost $271.78 just by itself, just paint. Now, obviously that made the biggest difference, you know, as far as the overall end appearance of the bike. And then creating this fiberglass rear end was actually a pretty pricey thing to do. Just fiberglass resin by itself was $153.10. Just spray foam to like create the shape of it, $39.35, 40 bucks almost for that. And then body filler was $39.29 for a can of body filler for the dents and stuff on the tank. So that's pretty much it. So the total for just body work was $503.52. That was just like paint and stuff. And there was so much labor, like it was labor intensive and $500 plus to do that. Okay, now as far as parts go, I'm just gonna read down the list really quick. I don't wanna bore you. The wiring connector for the taillight I bought AutoZone, $16.34. Vacuum lines that I needed to get because one was completely cracked and old was $28.98. I got a new chain, which was $27.24. The low fuel and the oil pressure indicator lights were $13. Frame sliders, $31. Rim tape, $28. Gauge cluster was $23. Grips, $14. Lever set was $24.40. The tank protector was $9. The headlight fairing I got on Amazon, $29. The LED headlight bulb, exhaust strap, turn signals, $40. Brand new battery was $34. The muffler, technically I already had, but I paid almost 90 bucks for that back in the day, so I need to factor that in since we used it. 90 bucks for the muffler. And then miscellaneous hardware, nuts and bolts and stuff, I estimated to be $17.40. And so that was it for the parts. So let me just write the categories on the board really quick. So he accepted my offer of $150 for the bike. I said it two different ways last video. I gave him $175 just because he was a good guy. So let's go on to parts. $422.77. Bodywork was a total of $503.52. All right, then for miscellaneous expenses, there probably even was more than this, but I put it at 150 bucks. So that brings our grand total to, it's a lot of digits here, $1,251.29. That was the total for this project. Was it worth it? That is in the eye of the beholder. I think for the story and just the overall positive vibe this whole project gave, I would say definitely worth it for 1,200 some bucks. So there you guys have it, $1,251 to complete this project plus 3 to 4 weeks of like solid working on it. It was a lot of body work to do, man, as a one-man project, doing the video, doing all the work, you know, figuring the whole thing out. And I just can't believe still that we didn't need to clean the carburetors for the first video. Like that is, the first start should have been the one where it's like, nah, I'm not gonna start it at all. But it fired up and ran great for a little bit. And then I had to clean the carburetors out right when I said cut on the last video clip of the last video. Crazy, I can't believe that still. So there you have it, $1,250 for the entire rebuild project. Plus, I forgot to factor in $188 for registration, so closer to $1,500 in the end and 3 weeks of my time of hard labor. And yeah, the bike probably isn't worth much more than that, but still, such a sick bike in the end, so I'm happy with it. I personally think making good stories is better than keeping a tight fist of money. And yeah, the bike's not perfect, it still needs a couple things, but it's about as clean as a 25-year-old bike can get. All right, well, now that you know what I have into the bike, lots of labor hours and just a labor of love in this thing, I think we honored the memory of this bike really well.
There were comments last video, and I had this thought before I had Alex out and see the bike and everything, but like giving it back to the previous owner as like a gift and stuff. There's like no way I could do that and not be a big financial mistake and just a total waste of time. When's the last time you gave back a motorcycle you just bought from the previous owner that you don't know? I would bet you've never done that. So I can't just be giving stuff back after a month of work and $1,200 dumped into this thing, as much as I would love to. Now, that being said, I would love to see Alex get this bike back. I would love that. So anybody from last video who commented that or liked those comments or wanted to see Alex get it back, I think I'm gonna put together a fundraiser. I don't know how I'm actually gonna do it. And if we can get together as much as I'm in it for, I won't even charge labor or anything, I would love to have Alex back out here, do a live stream of me giving him the keys back and him riding out of here. So if you guys are serious about that, there's gonna be a link below. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it, but I would love to see Alex ride away with it free of charge. So anyway, that's where I'm gonna end it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to donate and see Alex get this bike back, there's a link below.
So I'm stoked to potentially get Alex's bike back. I decided to put up a GoFundMe just to cover the money that I put into the project. Of course, the link's gonna be in the description if you guys do want to donate. That would be so sick. I'd love for the next video to be me giving him the bike back, handing him the keys, no strings attached. That would be so sick. So I'll keep the fundraiser up for about a week before I look to actually sell the bike and move on. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining on this journey. As always, if you love this motorcycle rebuild content, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and catch me in the next one. So much more coming for you guys soon. But first, let's get Alex his bike back.
All right, probably the last ride on this thing. We'll see. I'm just on to saving the next bike. Look at that color. What a fun little peppy bike. What's up, dude?